Most people running for political office drive around in a big fancy Greyhound campaign bus with a giant picture of themselves painted on the side and looking like a fancy hotel on the inside. But not Michael Williams, a Republican running for governor of Georgia. His campaign bus is a little bit different.
Hi, I'm Michael Williams, and boy, do we have some exciting news to you. We have our bus tour ready to go, but it's not going to be one of those pansy political bus tours. We've got the deportation bus. That's right, you heard me, the Michael Williams deportation bus. If you want to find out where we're coming, go to deportationbus.com. We're going to implement my 287G deportation plan that's going to fill this bus with illegals to send them back to where they came from. We're not just going to track them and watch them roam around our state. We're going to put them on this bus and send them home. Go to deportationbus.com and find out where we're going to be. See you there.
Look at this thing. This is great.
If you're as tired as I am with politicians that do nothing but talk, and you want to see this bus filled with illegals, vote Michael Williams on May 22nd.
Yes. May 22nd is the primary there in Georgia, and while Michael Williams isn't the Republican frontrunner, I do wish him the best. In all seriousness, though, it's absolutely critical that every single one of us vote in the midterm elections coming up in November. I know that might seem like a long time, it's in 6 months, but time flies, and I just wanted to plant the seed because not only are there 33 Senate seats up for grabs, but all 435 House of Representatives seats are also up for grabs. And if we lose the House, if the Democrats get the majority, then absolutely no legislation from President Trump has any chance of getting passed. And the swamp is so despicable, they may even vote to impeach him. Who really knows? And as the midterms approach, we're going to see a lot more censorship on social media because the tech giants are absolutely furious that we're able to bypass the mainstream media mockingbird gatekeepers and share our own information and debunk them on a consistent basis. We just saw Twitter yesterday admit that they are shadow banning people, but it's just in the name of stopping bullies and abuse. Here's BuzzFeed celebrating. Twitter is going to limit the visibility of tweets from people behaving badly. Act like a jerk, and Twitter will start limiting how often your tweets show up. You're crazy. Shadow banning conservative, that's just a conspiracy theory. On Tuesday, Twitter announced a massive change in the way its conversations will work, evaluating not just the content of individual tweets, but the way users behave more broadly on the service. Twitter will now use thousands of behavioral signals when filtering search, replies, and algorithmic recommendations. If it believes you're trying to game its system or simply acting like a jerk, it'll push your tweets lower down. Let me just translate that. It will shadow ban your tweets. It'll make it so that just nobody sees them. Among the signals Twitter will use, whether you tweet at large numbers of accounts you don't follow, how often you're blocked by people you interact with, whether you've created multiple accounts from a single IP address, and whether your account is closely related to others that have violated its terms of service. Oh, if it's just similar to others who have violated the terms. CEO Jack Dorsey said a lot of our past actions have been content-based, and we've been shifting more and more towards conduct and behaviors on the system. So basically they're admitting to shadow banning, or more accurately, shadow throttling people's tweets. Kind of like what Facebook's been doing to conservatives, including people like President Trump. From August of last year to February of this year, President Trump's Facebook engagements have dropped almost 50%. Because Facebook is shadow throttling his content so people aren't seeing it, so they can't respond to it by commenting on it or clicking the like button. If you missed yesterday's video, I showed you that Hillary Clinton just admitted that more Americans basically trust YouTubers and what their friends post on Facebook than trust the mainstream media. So I appreciate all you guys who come back every day to watch my videos, but I want to keep on going and keep on growing. I want to have more viewers consistently every day than Anderson Cooper over on CNN. And I'm not doing too bad considering right now I'm getting about a quarter to a third of his overall viewership, and I'm just one guy on a laptop in my kitchen, and he's a puppet working for $1 billion propaganda network. And thanks again, everybody who supports my channel by getting my shirts and my books, or tips me through Patreon or PayPal, and I'm on Venmo and the Cash App now. You guys are the ones who keep this channel going, so appreciate your support. Check back tomorrow for a new report, and I'll see you soon.
George Sorros has funded an app to help illegal immigrants avoid federal immigration authorities. The group is called United We Dream, founded by an organization receiving more than $200,000 as well in federal grant money. Your taxpayer dollars at work. Joining us now, Chris Farrell, Director of Investigations Research for Judicial Watch, which brought the story to light. That's outrageous. Sorros getting involved, federal money being used for it. What's happening as a result? Is there somebody being prosecuted?
It's also a crime. 8 U.S.C. Section 1327, which is aiding and abetting the unlawful entry of persons into the United States. This app is pretty outrageous. Not only does it allow the unlawful illegal alien to have all the magic language they need to plead their case, but it provides notice to their friends and family. It alerts their attorney. It's a full service.
Got it. Chris,
Yeah,
why
it's
isn't
outrageous.
somebody being prosecuted?
Well, it's a good question. Why are they getting another dime of your taxpayer money?
So the Trump Justice Department is acting a lot like the Obama Justice Department. They're monitoring. They're not actually doing much. We also know that illegal immigration in the last month has gone up. It's almost tripled on the southern border.
And when the Justice Department chooses to, they do go after people on the internet who are engaged in all sorts of illegal activity, whether it's, Silk Road or any other, for people, purveyors of internet stuff, whether it's pornography or anything else. When they want to go after them, they do. And here's a prime example of somebody abusing the system and taking taxpayer dollars. They choose not to. Why?
Yeah, well, I guess the reason is they can't get a conviction. They've lost. I mean, to find out that the FBI's conviction rate has dropped by 11% in 5 years, why in the world would the president not fire James Comey? He should have been fired.
Yeah, well,
meanwhile,
the Mueller-Comey legacy has been the slow motion destruction of the FBI, and I've advocated that the whole operation be shut down and be moved over to the Marshal Service.
Yeah, and by the way, we're headed in a direction where I don't know that the FBI can be saved. I'm starting to think that you may have the only solution that's been proffered that would, in fact, be a real solution and get rid of these folks. But even now, we know who the criminals are. They're sitting there. Most of them have been demoted. They've been fired. They've been reassigned. They should be in jail, for crying out loud.
And look, Mueller has yet to articulate the criminal predicate for his investigation. No one can tell you what crime's been committed. I can tell you what crime has been committed with respect to some of the actions and activities of people in Mueller's staff, at the FBI. It's 18 U.S.C. Section 242, which is deprivation of rights under color of law. That is an abuse of power statute. And when you look at the activities of Strzok and Page and McCabe, I mean, the whole litany of names, they've abused their offices.
The American people rightly have a small amount of patience with a government that doesn't respond, doesn't react, and carry out consequences. You know that everyone watching this broadcast tonight who is in the middle class, who is working, who has a family, if they pulled half of the nonsense, that any one of these people, they would be prosecuted with zeal.
Absolutely.
And this is hollowing out this country. We can tell in the pits of our stomach that we as a nation right now, our founding values, I mean, we've had our throats cut, and we have got to do something about it.
The double standard and the disparity of treatment, not just at the political level, where there's this outrageous assault on the president and his associates, but the selective prosecution of people with respect to things like security clearances and mishandling of classified information. They see it. They know it.
So let's talk about solutions here tonight. Why not have the president's legal team? You know, it's terrific. You know, you've got Rudy Giuliani. You couldn't have a better public advocate.
Yep.
But I'll tell you, there's something wrong when you're not attacking the special counsel and that corrupt staff of left-wing ideologues and activists that he's assembled and calls it a special counsel team. Why not go after them?
Yeah, I mean, arguably, criminal complaints could be filed seeking remedies because of the outrageous abuse, this abuse of authority and conduct, the abuse of office. You know, this deal about, you know, raiding Cohen's office. Just today we heard about the pen register being run on his phone and his communications with the White House. All this stuff is an abuse of office and should all be pursued.
I still can't get over Paul Manafort's wife being frisked and at gunpoint as agents.
A pre-dawn raid.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the stuff that you know that narco terrorists you know are involved in. Look, there are any number of remedies, whether it's administrative. For example, the president could and should fire every single political appointee who's an Obama holdover. They should not be in office.
Yep.
That's number one. Clean house that way.
Chris,
there are other remedies.
We got 10 seconds and appreciate you giving us that one. Chris Farrell, Judicial Watch, as always. Thanks.
From people who type in InfoWars as a target demographic, and they're basically saying by May 24th, I think it is, that those will no longer be allowed on Facebook. So that could be a nice little ban coming up for the InfoWars page.
And let's be clear, we get no money from this. It's like when that idiot thinks islands float, Hank Johnson told the poor Diamond and Silk, you're making a ton of money off this, honey. They're like, we don't make anything off of it. Facebook is this big using system, using everybody. And then now, Paul, I think that signifies they're getting ready to get rid of us on the 24th. So, Paul Watson's taking over in the shower. I'm briefly, at the start of the next segment, going to tell you who the leakers are in the White House exclusively. So get ready for that. You know, Trump's making a big deal about it. It is a big deal. Exclusively, that's coming up. But Paul Watson, you said earlier, we were talking during the break, you're a little upset. You know, we've been working together 16 years. And according to the BuzzFeed logic that we should be banned because we're run from Switzerland because Dan Lyman is listed as a contributor to InfoWars. He lives in Switzerland. By that extension, you are actually the mastermind. So should we have a little bit of an argument here right now about who the foreign handlers are? Because I thought it was Russia, but now we learned it's Dan Lyman, an American from Switzerland.
Well, I mean, Switzerland is a very scary country. I mean, what's Switzerland known for? You know, gold, Swiss chocolate, cows. I mean, it's all very terrifying stuff, Alex. But yeah, I've just looked it up when you told me about it. Conspiracy website InfoWars, which has amassed more than 900,000 likes, has a manager in Switzerland. Oh my God, hold the front page. We're now being run by Swiss bots, I imagine, whatever they are. So very terrifying stuff. But the thing you sent to me earlier, Alex, was Facebook now denying ads from people who type in InfoWars as a target demographic. And they're basically saying by May 24th, I think it is, that those will no longer be allowed on Facebook. So that could be a nice little ban coming up for the InfoWars page.
And let's be clear, we get no money from this. It's like when that idiot thinks islands float, Hank Johnson told the poor Diamond and Silk, you're making a ton of money off this, honey. They're like, we don't make anything off of it. Facebook is this big using system, using everybody. And then now, Paul, I think that signifies they're getting ready to get rid of us on the 24th.
Well, at least one of the pages, maybe. Then you've also got Twitter coming out today and saying it will hide conversations that detract from a positive environment, literally the most Orwellian language you can think of, which is them admitting to shadow banning, which they admitted to in the O'Keefe tapes, but then Twitter denied it. Now they've come out with a full policy saying they will hide certain tweets behind tabs if they deem them not to be adding to the conversation, which of course is entirely subjective and could mean anything.
And of course they're going to let the left call, they're going to let Spike Lee,
what they've been doing all along.
They've been doing it all along. They're going to let Spike Lee say horrible things about the president. That's fine, but all of us, we're going to be shadow banned, Paul.
Exactly. That's what I'm going to get into the Spike Lee thing again. You know, earlier today I tweeted, if the dominant culture is pushing this America-hating message 24/7, which it is, what can the counterculture be apart from pro-Americana? So we're seeing this again with the Spike Lee thing. We saw it with the Childish Gambino video, which has got like 120 million views. I've got a video coming out about that. So it's all about attack. America's bad, and that's the dominant culture. So what else could the counterculture be than a resistance, a backlash to that?
America has always been counterculture. That's what it was founded on.
Well, yeah, but until now, and we've now got Spike Lee saying that basically accusing Trump of not denouncing the rioters in Charlottesville, which he plainly did. Even Time magazine admitted it. He said there were violence on both sides, which is true. You had Antifa bashing people over the head with bike locks and going to prison for it. You had Trump supporters being attacked across the board. Another story about that today, a black guy wearing a MAGA hat, attacked, screamed at, hounded out of a restaurant. So yes, there was violence on both sides. And yes, Trump denounced the white supremacists at Charlottesville, but Spike Lee claims he didn't. And that's the basis for his entire Trump derangement syndrome surrounding this new movie, which again celebrates denigrating America, and it's being pushed and promulgated by the dominant culture, where the counterculture saying that no, Americana is the true source, the true identity of America. We're going to defend that very definition of America.
That's my foreign boss telling us Americana is #1. Clearly a foreign plot. And the American in Switzerland. Lyman, I'm waiting for my orders later today, sir. Please, as soon as possible, I need to get my orders from Switzerland, my friend.
We'll be in touch.
Good, Commander. Oh, yeah, I mean, Master, Leader, Mein Führer. How do you say that in Russian? Mein Kommandante, or is that German too? I don't know. I need to learn Russian if I'm under their control.
You know, someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
We confirm suspicions at Veritas. It's not a shock to you, but to get the employee at YouTube on tape admitting that they do it? I mean, you must be a threat if they call you out by name.
It's also what happens when you listen to the radio host, Alex Jones.
As of just a short time ago, and I'm talking about when this meeting started, on Twitter, if you clicked on the hashtag NYC terrorist attack, which is, quote, trending, marked with a red button saying, quote, live, the top tweet links to an InfoWars story with the headline, Imam, I warned de Blasio about New York City terror. He was too busy bashing Trump.
I don't know what happens in somebody's mind or how dark their heart must be to say things like that.
This is a real-time example of when we talk about this information being weaponized.
But Trump doesn't challenge these lies. He actually went on Jones's show and said,
your reputation's amazing. I will not let you down. You will be very, very impressed, I hope.
How quickly can you act, and what's your responsibility to set the record straight so that the people who saw this know that it's fake news, and at least at some point in time it can't keep spreading like some sort of virus through the legitimate world.
That's something we're thinking about all the time, because it's a bad user experience, and we don't want to be known as a platform for that.
You have RT.
see it.
I think that the template was cut years ago with Manny Pacquiao. If I told you to say...
Which is that when you label people who have nothing in common with Nazis as Nazis, you sort of cheapen your own argument. The biggest risk of this, I've told people there are multiple points of overlap between the Western world, not just the US, but the entire West basically, now and the Weimar situation. I think other than the economic side, which is thankfully improving, everything else is basically there as a lead up to actual extremism, which is mostly absent actually when you look at the Western world. Right now, we have people who think that if you wear a MAGA hat, you're an extremist. Or if you're like a member of the DNC, you must be an extremist. Those are not extreme positions. They're not dichotomous opposites. There are a lot of people who think that it's basically just the far right and the far left, and then a little sliver of like independents or centrists or something. They think that everyone on the left is stereotypically like a total out there granola crunch hippie, and everyone on the right is like the Bible thumper, Klan robe wearing, you know, burning cross waver. They think of these two sort of separate schools, and the problem is that their lumping ideologies have nothing in common really with either of those bipolar, actual true dichotomous situations. Well, you know, the horseshoe theory aside or whatever. The problem is that they're lumping other ideologies that are far more vast, far less stereotypical, typically more modulated in with those poles. Like, someone wears a MAGA hat, while they could fundamentally on some issues be a total liberal. Maybe they're to the left of you, but, you know, you as an Antifa member, of course, you say, well, you know, I'm a fascism, basically. Someone is a Democrat. There are certain assumptions that are made about them. Now, which kind are they, though? Are they a blue dog? Are they a neoliberal? Are they a progressive? Are they like a Sanders socialist? There's different groups that's becoming a political problem for the DNC, holding them all together. I don't know if they managed to make it to 2020 fully intact. I'm going to tell you, the Democrats have way more problems than the Republicans right now. The map is beginning to switch in favor of no blue wave. Trump's approval is now in the mid-40s and rising. He's doing fine. The economy continues to improve faster than they expected. No recession, no new war. Yeah, all the cards are stacking against the Dems right now. Outside of the House of Representatives, they'll gain support there unless something catastrophic happens. But the big problem is that people who are part of the new left, you could call it, you have a new right, which is the old right was not really a pro-freedom movement at all. It was basically God's guns and stuff like that, and tax me slightly less. The new right is more ironic shitposting, more of a constitutionalist, I think, appreciation. Now, I'm not talking about the alt-right. The alt-right sort of starts out from the same primordial spawn and has diverged from what you could call the new right at this point. I'm seeing two different camps emerging. One which is slowly spiraling itself into non-existence. Again, it's not popular for me to say this among some groups that watch me, but that is what is happening. You're getting into debates over minutia that, they don't even make sense. You then have the new right, which splinters off, which is still kind of just a pro-free speech and pro-trolling almost movement. They get lumped in with the alt-right, but then again, so do libertarians. Here's why we libertarians, minarchist or ANCAP, why we're getting lumped in with Nazis. And by the way, I'm well aware that it's not true that all of these people are actual National Socialists. Some of these people are far-right fiscally, some far-left. There are different, again, minutiae that they debate over. It takes a toll. Although it is a form of evolution of a political movement. So, we'll have to wait and see what happens. I suppose it really depends on who prevails over everyone else and if there's more schisming over time. There's also kind of an alt-light, but it's sort of closer to the new right at this point, I think, for most intents and purposes. But you have this problem where, because elements of the new right believe in free speech, if you believe in free speech and don't want to punch Nazis, that makes you like a Nazi enabler or a gatekeeper or something along those lines. It's a big problem when you're trying to have sane, intelligent public discourse and the average person can only say one of two things, cuck or Nazi. That's essentially what they've boiled down to in many cases on political issues. You've got to understand, people who tend to be more prevalent in discussions, especially online in politics, are people who have stronger feelings about politics. Who's likely to have stronger feelings about politics? Some boring centrist who's like, yeah, things are okay. I voted for John McCain, but then I voted for Obama, maybe John Kerry. Someone who's boring, they're total establishmentarian. They lead the picket fence lifestyle, or somebody who's under a lot of stress and has joined some fringe group. It's the same thing. Why do you think cults have a tendency to sustain themselves? Now, the message can be as out there as it can be, but they're much more fervorous in attempting to spread it. A lot more effort is necessarily put in. The argument of the mainstream that we need direct suppression by corporations, no less, in most cases, for-profit tech entities especially, of these movements is the most dangerous suggestion that I've ever heard. You couldn't think of a more dangerous situation than taking groups that are already fringe, they're already under stress, they've been built up specifically because of cultural and social alienation, and to try to compact them even further by putting them under more stress. No, what you should be is doing exactly the opposite. Let the storm blow over, in other words. But the big tech firms want to play moralist because it looks good for their brands. It helps them make money. It's really all about the almighty dollar for them. They're not cracking down on offensive or unpopular speech because of any moral reason. It's not like, oh, yeah, Tim Cook really cares what political beliefs you have. No, he cares that you buy his products. Bill Gates really cares, if you use, what was it, that one microshaft service there for talking about offensive. No, he doesn't give a shit about that, but he wants to make money, and he's cutting the head off the snake. He knows, he looks at these other at the social media firms and how they've been pressured by NGOs to crack down on this, that, and the other thing. He's like, well, eventually they're going to do this because now Microsoft has, like, products that sort of connect people. They're going to come calling for us. We're not going to deal with it. We don't want them to be able to grandstand on our company and have a big to-do about it. So we're just going to, you know, prevent that from ever happening. We're just going to do it ourselves beforehand. Another part is the EU constantly passing laws, and U.S. firms feel compelled to obey them. I would say other than the privacy laws, they should probably ignore them and then challenge the European governments to create... the German version of Facebook could be really exciting, really great place to discuss politics. You know, the U.S. Facebook is boring enough as it is and is losing users. Twitter, yes, a European-style censored Twitter. It'd be a wonderful place to be. Now, you get kicked off it within a day if you have any unpopular opinion at all. In the UK, you can't even buy a set of teaspoons without an ID at this point. You really think that their version of Twitter or YouTube would be any good? No, it wouldn't have anything other than cat videos. Even those that... Apparently, Dankula shows us even a cute animal video can be banned and get you landing you in trouble. So, yeah, go ahead, try. Meanwhile, the left here in the US has pledged itself totally against the concept of free speech. They only want regulated speech. Well, if it's regulated, it's not free. Only if the speech causes a secondary and very physical, a tangible effect should it be banned in any way. That's like you've caused someone to commit a crime, you know, a credible threat of violence. You've caused another person's behavior to change reasonably in accordance with their belief that you're about to try to kill them or something. So yeah, that's banned. Defaming someone, you lost someone their job because of your defamation. But those have tangible effects that don't have to do with the speech itself. The words, you know, the fact that you're speaking should never be regulated at all. What you say can be if it causes some sort of significant secondary effect. You know, you caused someone to be hurt. You yelled fire in a crowded theater, 5 people were trampled. Okay, and you're liable for that. Sorry, bub. You know, enjoy paying off those medical bills, especially when you find out none of them have insurance because Obama wanted to penalize them. So the left in the U.S., liberals and left aren't always the same, I'm aware of that, are doing themselves a disservice. You're going to bring about the destruction of the centrist order faster, which some people would say is good. The problem is it could go in a more extreme direction. The fact that you would change an establishment, overhauling an establishment is a good thing, but it matters what you replace it with. If you could overhaul the establishment and replace it with communism. It'd certainly be different. It'd certainly be doing something that wasn't centrist according to modern standards, but I don't think it would be a good idea. Just change for the sake of change. No, you have to figure out what direction you're actually going to go in with it. It matters. Right now, the left wants to approach communism or something, you know, akin to it. And there are elements of the right that are more constitutionalist, or they're just populistic or nativistic. Those are all you know, perfectly acceptable replacements for our neoliberal establishment, maybe. But then there are people who are fanatic. Then there are people who actually, you know, they'll never actually answer the question of, hey, you know, how are you going to bring about your order? Are you going to purge 10 million people? Oh, well, you know, we'd prefer to just pay people to leave. Okay, good luck. No, you'd require a purge. See, you're not being entirely honest with me. You're being kind of like the left in that respect. They're not honest. How are you going to bring about this communist order? How are you going to implement your assault rifle ban? Are you going to kill several million assault rifle owners? You know, assault rifles so-called. Oh, no. Well, it'll just be totally peaceful. They'll just voluntarily turn it in. We hope that people will follow the... You say they're law-abiding gun owners, so they'll just turn them in because it's the law. Then, yeah, okay. Again, good luck. That's about all. Peace out.